My fellow investors, we're on the verge of a revolution, an AI revolution that's going to be many times larger than the Industrial Revolution. We're laying the railways, we're laying the infrastructure. Do you want to pay a premium now to get in early? Is it worth it to you? Let's get to it. So first, I want to go over Cerberus, the most recent IPO. I'm actually an owner of Cerberus. I decided to get in on the ground floor pretty much. Now Cerberus, they make semiconductors that are larger and faster than the rest of the competition. And the CEO states that they are over 15 times faster than the competition. Now, are they a direct competitor to NVIDIA? In a sense they are, because they're not going to take over the market share. They're pretty much providing a niche product to anyone who wants to run compute and inference. Some of these companies that I'm going to go over are pretty high profile. Some might be flying under the radar, so we're going to look at several here and see if there's any that are pretty good value. Now, Texas Instruments, they've been making semiconductors for many, many years, and they're mostly known for, kind of the low end semiconductors. A lot of people, when they think of Texas Instruments, they, think of those scientific calculators that you had to buy in college and high school for algebra and calculus. But they're actually expanding into higher end AI chips. And these will be motor control applications, so robotics, home appliances, industrial systems. So we had to kind of shift our perspective a little bit. When you think of Texas Instruments, they're kind of joining the race for, the AI compute, and they're kind of leaving behind their old model, although not entirely. They're just kind of shifting their focus. And their PE is around 51. So it's a little bit elevated, which is what you might expect. But, robotics, when we think robotics, that's kind of on the horizon, maybe several years out. There's, some discussion about that going on. Is it going to be 3 years? Is it going to be 5 years? Is it going to be 10 years till we see anything meaningful happen in that space? So this is something that may be early. Yes, you're paying that premium 51 P ratio, but you can get in very early with Texas Instruments. Another one is Marvell. I'm a holder of Marvell, and they are focusing on the emergence of the need for optical interconnects in AI training and inference. And Marvell's PE is 57, a little bit higher than Texas Instruments. And we can see some tailwinds for Marvell because China has contributed 36% of the 2025 fiscal revenue. And NVIDIA, they have a trailing PE of 46, so it's a little lower than some of the other ones that we mentioned earlier. When you think of NVIDIA, they're the ones that have a moat. They are designing the highest level compute semiconductors on the market. So you really can't go wrong with NVIDIA. And one of NVIDIA's biggest competitors, AMD, they have a trailing PE of 140. So quite a bit larger than NVIDIA, but you would expect that. AMD has a smaller market cap, so they're going to have, more growth potential. So they also have that higher price to earnings ratio. So you have to ask yourself, when it comes to AMD versus something like NVIDIA, are you willing to pay that extra premium for a smaller market cap and something with more growth potential? And you can see what they've done this last year compared to, NVIDIA, who had a run up for several years now. And then we have Corning. So Corning, when you think of them, you think of glass and fiber optics. Okay, so this is the interconnectivity that AI data centers are going to need. And this is, possibly going to replace a lot of the copper connections that we find in these AI data centers. Corning is around 90 PE. Now, the one that, is kind of surprising, and we've heard this a lot recently, that the value of Micron, the PE, and also the other memory chip makers, it's actually pretty favorable. It's really not that high. And when I looked at Micron, I found that to be the case. Currently, it's around 34. The forward PE is 7. Now, when you look at the overall market, the S&P is right around 32, so it's not much higher than the S&P's PE ratio. Surprisingly, even with this incredible year that Micron has had, it's not too high. And then when you look at the Korean memory chip makers, Samsung is 40 PE, SK Hynix is even lower, 34 PE, same as Micron. So when you look at the components, those major components of DRAM, the ETF DRAM, it's actually pretty fair value right now. And then we kind of have the black sheep, Intel. Now they actually have a negative trailing PE, but a positive forward PE, which is around 120. So if you feel like taking a little bit of risk, Intel might be what you want to look at. And then we have TSMC. TSMC is also at 34. You pay a little bit of premium there, but pretty fair. But you're also, taking on that geopolitical risk. Do you want to take on that risk? That's something you have to ask yourself. And here's one that might be flying under people's radar. Credo, ticker CRDO. Look at the earnings per share. They've been beating analysts' expectations with their quarterly earnings consistently. And the revenue and the earnings have been going up. Look at it quarter by quarter. Great growth for CRDO. So this might be an option for you. Hey, I want to get in on, something that people are saying is 100x what the Industrial Revolution was in the past. There's a tremendous amount of growth potential in these tickers and in these companies. And there's so many options. You could have analysis paralysis. You don't even know where to start. Just ask yourself, are you willing to pay a premium to get in? Because, like I said, a lot of these, they do have quite a bit of premium. And I would say that depends. Do you think we're early? Some of these have had a run up in the past year. Well, what are they saying? They're saying we have 4 years of rapid growth and catching up to the demand for semiconductors and all the interconnectivity and everything that lays the groundwork for these AI data centers. So if you think you're early, I say, yeah, I think it's worth it to, pay a little bit extra to get in early and to, be a part of the rapid growth in semiconductors. Thanks for watching. I noticed that I have about 70% of you that watch my videos that aren't subscribed, so please subscribe if you haven't already. It's free, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned.